Where's my cup? There's my cup. All right. Good morning, TikTok. Actually, it's just about afternoon, 2 minutes away from 12 o'clock p.m. here in Vietnam. Have you ever gotten angry at a piece of clothing, like an article of clothing? I was trying to button my sleeves just a moment ago, and doing it with one hand was so difficult, and I just wanted to, I got angry at my shirt. You ever felt that way? Like angry at a piece of clothing? Well, anyway, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to my TikTok live stream. My name is Sam. I'm from the United States, and I go live on TikTok fairly regularly. I try to help people improve their English communication skills and American accent. So, welcome, and thanks for coming. So today I have 50 C1 level sentences featuring idioms specifically related to business communication. So if you're learning English, if you're trying to improve your English communication skills specifically for business communication, this is a great live stream for you to be in. So again, thanks for coming. Let's get going. So the first one, read along with me, practice your English. The new startup is cutting edge in the AI industry. Right, so this new company is cutting edge. They're very modern, right? Hello, Kat. Welcome. Great to see you. How's it going over there in Ukraine? Привет. So cutting edge means that it's like super modern, right? It's the newest technology. It's the most recent technology. Right? The new startup is cutting edge. Okay, number 2. We need to think outside the box to solve this problem. This means we need to think creatively. How do I get rid of this? What is this silly thing popping up here? It's annoying. So we need to think outside of the box. We need to not use traditional ideas. Think creatively. Exactly. Kong or Go. Don't know how to say your name. Het Buenzoi. Sent 2 roses. Thank you, Het Buenzoi. Glad you're not sad anymore. I hope that's true. Het Buenzoi. Doi? What is the last Zoe? Yeah, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so moving on, number 3, going kind of fast today. Not necessarily trying to move quickly, but the CEO called the shots during the merger negotiations. Holy smoke, says, good morning, friend. How's it hanging? It's hanging stupendously. Having a very good day so far. It's noon here in Vietnam. How are you doing, holy smoke? David AFK says hello. Hi, David. I like the name David. The CEO called the shots, right? He was the boss. He made the decisions. Right? Are you a shot caller? Are you a boss? Do you make decisions? The Rude Therod, I think, says, hello, sir, from Kazakhstan. Hello, my friend in Kazakhstan. Holy smokes, is happy to hear that. Great, thanks, good. / is here. Hello, / How's it going? Yeah, to call the shots, right? You're the boss. You make the decisions. You say what you're going to do. The CEO, the chief executive officer, right? The big boss called the shots, right? He made the decisions. He said, do this, do that, do what I say. Ooh, somebody with a Russian name shared the live. Thanks for sharing the live. How do you say this name? Busigina. Is that right? Ralina? Or is that Galina? Busina Galina? Not very good at reading Cyrillic script. Anyway, we've got 119 people here. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. Practice your English with me. Number 4. Our team hit the ground running. on the new project. Tiana Green says, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing swell. How are you, Tiana Green? Where are you from? Tell me in the group chat, where are you from? I know we've got probably some Vietnamese people here. Kat says the sound of the fan is heard. How about now, Kat? Is the sound of the fan... I didn't realize that I had my fan pointed at my laptop. Is it better now? Thanks for telling me. So to hit the ground running means to not wait to begin, right? To hit the ground running, to begin immediately, right? Our team began immediately. Right? They began working on the project with no delay. Okay, so hit the ground running, right? It means begin working immediately. Oh, thanks for the follow, Kong. Let's see what's going on here. Number 5, practice your English. Read along with me. Listen and repeat, right? Improve your English communication skills. The company is in the red this quarter due to high costs. So it's not good to be in the red. In the red means you're losing money, right? You want to be in the black. If you're in the black, it means you are making money, you're profitable, right? You're taking more money in than you're spending. But if you're in the red, it means you're spending more money than you're making. So it's not good to be in the red, right? The company is in the red this quarter due to high costs, right? They are losing money this quarter. Exactly, Kong. So as always, I want to point out that this word is pronounced like this. Quarter. Quarter means 1/4, which means 3 months. Right, in this period of time, this period of 3 months is a quarter, right? Because it's 1/4 of a year. A year has 12 months, so 1/4 of a year, 1/4 of 12 is 3 months. That's what a quarter is. And say it just like that, quarter. Let's see. Huang Feng Ang followed me. Thank you so much for the follow. Lucila Arranchado says, hello, Po. Are you from the Philippines? What does it mean when somebody says Po or Pa in Tagalog or whatever language? Tiana Green says, where are you living? I'm Vietnamese. Oh, not a very Vietnamese looking name, Tiana. I'm from the United States, but I live in Vietnam. I live in Nha Trang. Where do you live, Tiana? All right, moving on. Practice your English. Huang Phương Anh says, hi, hello, Huang Phương Anh. Tiana Green is in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, not too far from me, like a 5-hour drive. As Pakis says, hi, teacher, how are you doing? I'm doing swell. Kong says, Pa is Tagalog. Okay, well, what does it mean? What does Pa mean in Tagalog? Cami says, hi from Romania. Wow, Romania, huh? That's pretty cool. Hello, my friend. Number 6, she has her finger on the pulse of the market trends, right? She knows what's going on. She knows what's new, right? She keeps track of new things. She reads the news. She does research. She has her finger on the pulse of the market trends, right? She knows what's going on. Cami says, I'm walking now. Oh, going for a walk, huh? Groovy. Kat sent a heart. Thank you so much, Kat. Phương Tao is going to visit Nha Trang next week. Well, why don't you come have coffee with me? I live in Nha Trang. Cami says, it's such a beautiful morning. Well, great. It's a beautiful afternoon here. Lucila Arranchado says, I'm a Filipina. Pa, or Po, is vow down or respect to the adult. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Huang Ming Cho sent a pop. Thank you, Huang Ming Cho. Tiana says, it seems you can speak Vietnamese. Yes. Kong says, Po is honorific. Okay, cool. Now I learned something new today. I learned a word in Tagalog. Lucila says, God bless you. God bless you too, Lucila. And I am not LGBT. But if there is anybody else here who is that, then meet and you. So she has her finger on the pulse, right? Pulse is your heartbeat, right? So I have my finger on my pulse, right? I can feel my heart beating. So that's my pulse, right? My heartbeat. Cami says, I'm fluent in French too. Wow, cool. So you speak French, Romanian, and English. Very intelligent young woman over there in Romania. Huang Ming Cho sent clap, clap. Thanks for the gift, Huang Ming Cho. So, number 7. 250 view is LGBT friend. I have no idea what that means, but thanks for the completely vague and meaningless post. Oh, here's another good one. Al says, what does the number 6 mean? Oh, okay. So if you have your finger on the pulse, it means that you know what is happening, right? You're aware of the current condition. Oh, Cami is 65. Wow. Lovely. Hello, madam. Bebs says, hi, sir, good afternoon from Manila, Philippines. All right, so she has her finger on the pulse. She knows what's going on, right? She's updated. She knows the news. So number 7, follow along with me, practice your English. We left no stone unturned in our competitor analysis. Tao Huing says, hello, teacher. Hello, Tao Huing. It's a beautiful name. Tao means grass. Is that right? Tao có nghĩa là cỏ, đúng không? Somebody with a Chinese name says apple and can eat, question mark. I love that. I'm a huge fan of the incomprehensible questions. But, you know, it's more fun if you don't even include a question mark and don't capitalize the question, right? If you want to be an ace at asking incomprehensible questions, you should leave off the question mark and you should not capitalize the sentence. Tao says, yep, teacher. Okay. Kemi says, my cardio tests were perfect. Well, that's good. I'm glad your heart is doing well. So to leave no stone unturned means that there's nothing that we didn't look into, right? We checked everything. We left no stone unturned, right? Imagine that you're looking for something, right? There are stones on the ground. So you would pick up the stone and look under it, right? You would turn it over to see if the thing that you're looking for is under the stone, right? So to leave no stone unturned means you looked everywhere, right? There was not anything that we missed. Huang Ming Zhou says hello. Hi, Huang Ming Zhou. Xin chao. Cami says ants. Ants. Okay. Well, okay. Anyway, number 8. Moving on. Follow along with me. Al says, so it's like check every nook and cranny. Exactly, Al. That is correct. Let's see. Fung Tao says, can you explain number 6 for the 3rd time? Okay. So she has her finger on the pulse. Means that she knows what's happening, right? If I read the news every day and I know all about the news, I know exactly what's happening right now, I would say I have my finger on the pulse, right? If I check my pulse, it means I check my heartbeat, right? I'm seeing how often my heart is beating, how fast or slow it's beating. So here's my finger, it's on the pulse, my pulse. So to have your finger on the pulse means you know what's happening right now. Kin kin la mat trời nhỏ. I love how you speak slowly. Oh, great. Tâm một chín chín tám says, I am from Vietnam. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming. Moving on. Number 8. Follow along with me. Practice your English. The deal fell through at the last minute. Cami says, how is this called? How this is called? Well, these are business idioms, right? These are idioms in English that are very normal, right? I myself say these things. So if you're a business person, practice these idioms, right? The deal failed. Exactly, haha. Nini Goom says, are there idioms? These are idioms, yes. So the deal fell through. The deal failed at the last minute, right? We could not make a deal. It fell through, right? Something happened and we could not make the deal. So we'll say it fell through. Kubulantos is so useful. I'm glad you find this useful. Thanks for coming to my live stream. Number 9. He has a lot on his plate with 3 major clients, right? He is super busy. He has so much work to do, right? He has a lot on his plate. He has, how do I say? He has committed himself. He has agreed to do a lot of work, right? He has a lot on his plate. If I say, I have a lot on my plate today, it means that I'm very busy. I have too many things to do. Yeah, really busy, exactly. He has a lot on his plate. He has 3 clients, and his clients are constantly calling him, say, hey, I need you to do this and this and this. He's very busy. He has a lot to do. Number 10. The marketing campaign went viral overnight. Right? It went super popular, right? Many people cared about his marketing team. Pame says, hi, Sam. Hi, Pame. Welcome. Thanks for coming. How are you doing? So the marketing campaign. Look at how, like in the word marketing, the T is very soft. It's more like a D. Marketing. Marketing. Harvey says, but what is the meaning of 3 major clients? So 3 major clients, that means he has like customers, like business customers, right? If I have a client, maybe I'm helping a restaurant with their advertisements, right? That restaurant would be my client, right? They are my customer. They're paying me to do something, right? So this guy is very busy because he has 3 businesses that are paying him to do something. Cami says, you should come visit to Romania someday. I would love to do that. So anyway, to go viral means to become super popular, right? If you post a video on TikTok and 5 million people watch it and like it, you could say that video went viral. Harvey says, what about major? Major just means like really big or important. Yeah, thank you, Kong. So here we are at number 11. How many people we have here? We have 246 people in the live stream. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to my live stream. My name is Sam. I'm from the United States, and I go live here on TikTok fairly regularly, trying to help people improve their English communication skills and American accent. If you would like this PDF and lots of other stuff, including a IELTS speaking tool, lots of English learning materials, please subscribe to me here on TikTok, and I'll send you a link to get access to all the videos, all the documents, all the stuff. Fikook says, can you explain number 9? You still don't get it. So if you have a lot on your plate, it means you have a lot of work to do. Nguyen K says, you look very elegant, Mr. Sam. Thank you. As call, can we get this PDF? Sure. Send me a private message. Subscribe to me here on TikTok, and I will give you this PDF and many, many other things for learning English. White Rose is here. Oh, thank you, White Rose. Have a wonderful weekend. So we need to tighten our belts during this slow period. If you want this PDF and lots of other learning materials, please subscribe to my TikTok, and I will give you access to everything. It's only $3 a month. Lee and Neil says, are you AI? You must be new here. I'm Charlie Puth AI. Welcome to my live stream. Phil Tao says, how often do you go on live, teacher? I go live like 4 or 5 times a week. I don't know, I go live when I feel like it. Kat sent 3 go populars. Thanks so much, Kat. Appreciate that. Yassine doesn't know how to get up to C1. Well, you just need to practice every day. I recommend practicing for 10 minutes before you go to sleep. That way your brain will help you get better while you sleep. It works, I promise. What job do you do? I work in like media and stuff. I'm also a chef. I'm actually going to be cooking for a wedding next month. I worked as a chef for 15 years when I lived in America, and I don't often do chef jobs, but I am going to cater a wedding 2 weeks from now. So that ought to be fun. So we need to tighten our belts. We need to spend less money, right? We need to be more frugal during this slow period, right? These are business idioms. So if I'm a businessman and I say we need to tighten our belts during the slow period, it means that we as a business are not selling very many products. We're not making very much money. So we need to spend less money. We need to tighten our belts. Cami likes to cook. Lovely. Yassine, will I need a specific subject for the 10 minutes before bed? I think that yes, you should choose a subject that would be useful to you, right? Maybe talking about your day or describing your job, something like that. Cami likes to cook. Yeah, cooking's fun, isn't it? Win case is cool. You're cool. NY says, do you know any app to communicate in English? There are many, many apps. Harvey says, where are you currently living? I'm living in Vietnam. Coffee Sữa Dừa says, you're a special teacher. I like you. Thank you so much, Cafe Sữa Dừa. Bảo Hân says, nhắn em cho coi lo miễn phí. So what? Brian Aguilar Flores says, hi, Sam. Hi, Brian. How's it going? Glitcherine says, scared of IELTS speaking. Don't be scared of IELTS speaking. If you're practicing for IELTS speaking, I made an app using Claude, and it's for practicing speaking IELTS, right? It explains all three parts of the IELTS speaking test, and it tells you exactly what to do. I promise that if you follow all the steps in the app, you will become a better IELTS speaker. Subscribe to my TikTok if you want to get access to it. It's only $3 a month. Hank's here. Hi, Hank. Glad you think that idioms are awesome. Idioms are probably the most popular live stream topic for learning English. Tighten your belts means save money. That is correct. Bao Ming says, how long do your live streams usually last? They usually last about an hour. Alexander is unemployed. Well, I hope you find a job. Cami is going to make a caprese salad. Yummy. Tomatoes and mozzarella and basil. Yassine's working in luxury hospitality in France. Cool. 505 says, aren't you the waiter and the chef? I'm only the chef, not the waiter. Kyo Fu says, what part of Vietnam? I live in Nha Trang, Cang Hoa province. Wind and chill. I can't quite see what your image is, but it looks, well, never mind. Checkmark says something that I can't say out loud. Hoang Dã Quá? Cái gì Hoang Dã? Kong says, where are you from? I'm from the United States. Tâm 1998 says, your Vietnamese is so good. Are you in Vietnam? Yes, I'm in Vietnam. Tai just watched The Odyssey and looking at you right now, reminding me of Matt Damon. I remind you of Matt Damon? Really? Of all actors, why not Arnold Schwarzenegger? Wait and Cass says, sorry, where do you live? I live in Vietnam. Therapon sent a heart. Thank you. John Bass sent a heart. Lovely. Thanks so much. Okay. Group chat is just blowing up. Oh, sweet. Concierge Japan's here. Konnichiwa, Concierge Japan. Shock ngài nói tiếng Việt chuẩn vậy. Thank you so much for the gifts, Concierge Japan. Lovely. Concierge Japan has a really interesting job. That person works with private luxury aircraft. Anyway, number 12. Follow along with me. Practice your English. Listen and repeat. The board gave the green light to the expansion plan, right? The board gave permission. right? They said, you can do this. They gave the green light. Undisputed Men says, are you friendly with Tom Cruise? Tom Cruise is my best friend. He calls me every morning, right? We have coffee once a week. So yeah, I'm very friendly with Tom Cruise, right? We hang out. Harvey says, Sam, if I say I don't feel like dancing, it means I don't want to do that action. If you say I don't feel like dancing, it means you don't want to dance. So to give the green light means to give permission, to say, okay, you can do this. I give you guys the green light to say really dumb stuff in the group chat, right? Say whatever you want, right? The more incomprehensible, the better. Cami says, I used to live for 18 years in New York. I'm autodidact in English and eager to learn more. What does autodidact mean? My English is not very good. Can you teach me English, Cami? New York is a cool place. Did you live in the city or you mean New York State? Where in New York State did you live? Kong says, nail it to do something in a perfect way. Yeah, you nailed it. You did it perfectly. You did it really well. Oh, autodidact, to teach yourself. Okay, cool. So 13, practice your English. She nailed it in the investor presentation, right? She did it perfectly, right? She said all the right things. Ty says, Tom Cruise seems to be losing his touch in his latest movie franchise. I have not seen his latest movie franchise, but I mean, Tom Cruise is not a spring chicken. He's not a young man, right? He had a pretty good run, though. Chiu says, how to use natural collocations in an essay. I'll take your advice into account. Why don't you send me a private message, right? Subscribe, join my daily English club, and there's all kinds of information on how to use collocations, etc., etc., etc. Dam Chin Chin Dam says, have a nice day. I hope you have a nice day too. So she nailed it. She did great. She did it perfectly, right? You nailed it. You did wonderful. When I asked you to type something completely meaningless in the group chat, you nailed it. Congratulations, well done. Cassandra Toledo's here. Hi, Cassandra Toledo. How's it going over there in Mexico? Buenas noches, Cassandra. 1965 is here and gives a thumbs up. Hey, thanks so much, 1965. 2 question marks says, oh, you can speak Vietnamese. Well, I live in Vietnam. Ought to learn Vietnamese if you live in Vietnam, right? If I lived in Mexico, I'd learn Spanish. Sometimes I wish I did live in Mexico. Because if I was in Mexico right now, I would go out and buy like 100 tacos and eat them. 1965, guess what country I'm in? I have no idea and I don't know. Somebody else, guys, guess where 1965 is. Cassandra Toledo says, good afternoon. JS here is it's really wonderful, my day and yours. My day is wonderful now that you're here, Cassandra. Thanks so much for coming. Harvey says, how many languages do you speak? I speak English pretty well, some Vietnamese, some German. Mona Lisa's here. Hi from Indonesia. Hello. Brian Aguilar Flores is from Peru. Cool. Kong guesses that 1965 is Vietnamese. Cami says, it is live extensive there. Sorry, Cami, I don't understand the question. Is life, you mean expensive? No, it's very cheap here. Harvey says, what about Spanish? Yo hablo solamente un poquito de español, pero no mucho. I only speak a little bit of Spanish. I can say, yo quiero tacos. Right? Yo quiero comer. How do you say I'm hungry? Tengo sueño is I'm sleepy. Yo tengo hambre. Tengo mucho hambre. And I have a friend who's from Mexico City, and he was such a nice man. And he would say that whenever we made food, right, this was when I was working as a chef in a restaurant, we would make food for the staff, and he would say, donde comen tres, comen cuatro, which means that there's always enough food for one more person, right? You should be welcoming and hospitable, right? Donde comen tres, comen cuatro. Yo tengo mucho hambre. So number 14, practice your English. The company is riding high after the successful launch. Hank says your Spanish is actually good. Oh, it's not very good. I just memorized some things, right? What do they say in Don Quixote? Don Quixote, there's a part where Pancho, he says, La mejor salsa del mundo es la hambre. Right? The best sauce in the world is hunger. Fung Tao says, what restaurant do you work at, teacher? I don't work at a restaurant anymore. In the past, I worked at restaurants in the United States. Now I just do freelance chef work, right? I'm going to cater a wedding next month. It'll be fun. The company is riding high, right? They're feeling good about themselves. They feel very confident, right? If I say, I'm riding high, I feel very confident. I feel good about what I'm doing. Harvey says, what is a freelance? Freelance, right? If I'm a freelance chef, it means that I do not work for a restaurant, right? You can pay me to do like one job for one day. That's freelance, right? I don't have a boss. Cami says, what is your favorite dish? My favorite dish, that's hard to say. My favorite dish here in Vietnam is called chả mực, which are these cakes they make from squid. Oh, they're so good. Ugh, I need to go get some chả mực. So 1965, are you ever going to tell us where you're from, or are you just vague posting? Vivi says, from my perspective, English language popularizes with visual images. I'm sorry, Vivi, but I have no idea what you mean. Vu Chun says private chef. Yeah, private chef. 1965, Mo Chin Sao Nam is from Vietnam. Okay, whoop-de-doo, Hanoi. Hanoi Xin. Xin chào bạn tại Hanoi. Now, everybody, relax, okay? We now know where 1965 is from. I know you were all worried about that, right? Losing sleep, feeling anxious, but it's okay. We now know that 1965 lives in Hanoi. Tai says, chả mực, so good, but so expensive. Yeah, well, good stuff usually isn't cheap. Harvey says, if you come to Ecuador, you must try encebollado. It's like a very good soup. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely try it. Hai Nghìn Chín Tu Khoa says hello. Hi. Miss Gazimzadeh says hi from Azerbaijan. Wow, lovely. Hello, my friend in Azerbaijan. Van Faum is yelling at me, screaming, where are you from? I'm from the United States. I'm from Texas. Tu Khoa says hi, I'm from Vietnam. Cool. Lynette is from Kenya. Ooh, Betho Camille is here. Hi, Betho. Welcome. Astheriella says, are you for real? No, I'm AI. I'm Charlie Puth AI. You must be new here. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I'm fake. This is Claude Code, right? Claude Code made me. You're staring at an AI Charlie Puth thing. So Sang says, you speak so quickly. Well, you need to listen more quickly. Harvey says, was it hard to learn Vietnamese when you started learning it? Yeah, it was hard. Jenny in the bottle, do you like Texas barbecue? Does the Pope fart in the woods? Yes, of course I like Texas barbecue. I went to take a bath in Texas barbecue. Superdrive says, how are you, mister? I'm swell. So we put all our eggs in one basket with this big client, right? We're taking a risk. Right? Eggs are very easy to break, right? So if you put all of your eggs in one basket, if you drop the basket, you're screwed, right? All of your eggs are broken. So we're taking a risk, right? We're investing. How did Kong explain it? Invest everything in one place. Yes, exactly. Irina says, you look handsome today. Do I not look handsome other days? Lum Lay says, is that collocation vital in English? Well, these are idioms. I suppose, yeah, there's riding high would be a collocation, yeah. Is it vital? It's not necessarily vital. The name Lum means forest, right? Lum có nghĩa là rừng, đúng không? Lum là từ Hán Việt, phải không? Harvey would not say I speak fast. Oh, thanks. Ding Me says, you look like David Beckham. Have you ever seen a photo of David Beckham? Cool. Lum says, how did you know that? I have a friend named Lum, and one day I said, hey, Lum, what does Lum mean? And he said, Lum có nghĩa là rừng, forest. I look like George Clooney. Come on, guys. What's that deal here? I look like George Clooney. I look like Matt Damon. I look like freaking the footballer. Like, what's next? You're gonna say I look like Beyonce? Oh, I look like Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, great, sweet. Super high IQ today. Did you just come back from Shark Tank? Too formal for a live, but anyway, still dep chai. Yeah, I just came back from Shark Tank. That's where I just now was. I had breakfast at Shark Tank. So 16, practice your English. The new policy hit the nail on the head, right? It did the exact thing it was supposed to do, right? It worked perfectly. It hit the nail on the head, right? If I say you hit the nail on the head, you said exactly the right thing. Love says to describe or identify something exactly right, to be precisely correct. Is that copy pasted from ChatGPT? My Sing says, can you speak Vietnamese? Yes. Uben Team says, you look like me. Great. Hank likes my sarcasm. Hank, remind me where you're from. Are you from England? I can't remember. Jenny in the Bottle says, did you make it? Love the vague question. Sure, I made it. Whatever it is. Guliam says, today you're a bit like irritated. Do I seem irritated? I am irritated. I'm super irritated. Angry. Home Wayne says, are you an English teacher? I have worked as an English teacher, but I hate teaching English. So I try to do it as little as possible. I do these live streams just for fun and just so I can be a wise ass to everybody, but I don't teach. So Han Lum doesn't mean academic, it's Korean forest. Okay. My Sing Tay Cause I Fat New Khoa học IPA không at. Subscribe to my TikTok channel and you can get access to all sorts of stuff, including an IPA pronunciation guide. Amira says, where did you learn other languages? I learned Vietnamese in Vietnam. I learned German in Germany. And I learned Spanish in the United States. Jenny in the Bottle says, grumpy too. I am super grumpy. I'm the angriest person on TikTok right now, right? I'm the angriest AI thing on TikTok. Oh yeah, Hank is from Venezuela. Oh, you learned English at a young age. Okay, cool. Can you repeat what you mean you nailed it? So if I say you nailed it, that means that you described it perfectly, right? You said the exact right thing. You nailed it, right? If you say, hey, Sam, you are, well, I don't know, I can't think of an example. Harvey says, why do you hate teaching English? I could write a book about why I hate teaching English. Partly because it takes a long time to prepare for a lesson, and you're having to like deal with the demands of so many different people all at one time. There's homework, you have to deal with parents, school curriculum. I mean, teaching's a headache. So Sang says, you don't take a nap. No, I don't take a nap. So number 17, this is actually a baseball term. You know baseball, that game they play in America? He threw a curveball during the meeting with unexpected news. Jenny the Bottle, why could you not give an example? Well, these are examples. Hema agrees that teaching is a headache. Yep. Harvey says, shut. I'm actually studying to be an English teacher. Good luck with that, Harvey. That's very noble of you. I hope you enjoy teaching. It's a very good thing to teach, right? Teaching is a noble profession, helping other people. Manuel Alejandro says, you sound like Texas people. Well, I did live in Texas for 12 years. Yeah, to nail something means to get it correct, to get it properly, right? You nailed it. You said the right thing. You said the exactly correct thing, the exact correct thing. So he threw a curveball. He did something unexpected, right? People were not expecting what he did, right? He threw a curveball. He did something nobody thought that he was going to do during the meeting with unexpected news. Amira says, I'm Ivorian. Does that mean you're from the Ivory Coast? Côte d'Ivoire? Lumley says, where are you from, though? I'm from the United States. You know what I'm going to do? Later this afternoon, I'm going to go to a tattoo parlor and I'm going to get a tattoo on my forehead that says, I'm from the United States. Right? I feel like that would be helpful for my live stream viewership, you know. Ding Me says, do you know Sing Do Luamak? I don't think I've ever had a Sing Do Luamak. That would be a oatmeal smoothie? It's beet. Beet is Luamak. Beer. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's funny. It's kind of like when people say liquid bread. Yeah. Super funny. Amira says, you need to speak French as well. I don't speak French. Sing do lua mac means beer. Okay, great. Thank you for teaching me something new in Vietnamese. I look like drink sing do lua mac. Cool, thanks. Well, that's the best comment today. Holy Smoke says, if you find a terrorist with that tattoo, you don't have a chance. Yeah. You're on a Vietnamese caffeine high. I'm not on a Vietnamese caffeine high. I'm drinking water, right? I'm a heavy drinker. I drink all day, but it's okay because it's just water. Vivi says, should we play the game of guessing? Vivi, you play whatever game you like. Yes, sure, we should. Number 18. Our profits are through the roof this year. Right? We have made so much money that we can't even stand it. Right? We have made so much profit. Right? They're through the roof. Lug F says, who are you? You teach tuition. What? Tommy says 18. Our profits are through the roof this year, right? We, Holy Smoke says, you don't hear that saying anymore. Sure you do, right? I say, man, my electricity bill is through the roof. My electricity bill is expensive. Haikon Mao says, you look kind of like Ben Affleck. I should keep a running tally of how many different people I look like today. Like how many, like do all white people just look the exact same to you? Like what's the deal here? Does that mean we exceeded the target? It just means that it's very tall, very high, right? Our profits are through the roof, right? It means we made so much money. Our profits are very high, super high, in fact. So high that they've gone through the roof of the building. Holy Smokes, you said profits. Yes, I did say profits, right? That's right here in this Google document. Viet Cang Daily says, you can speak Vietnamese. Is that a question or a statement, Viet Cang? Luke F says, I mean, do you teach tuition class or give it for free? Well, this live stream is free. If you want to get access to all my teaching materials, you have to pay me $3 1 month. Right? You have to buy me a couple of cups of coffee, and I'll give you all of this stuff. 19, follow along with me. Practice your English communication skills and improve your American accent. She has an ace up her sleeve for the negotiation. Cool, thanks, Hank. So to have an ace up your sleeve, it means like you have a secret thing, right? If I have an ace up my sleeve, it means that I have something that is going to help me win. A trick, yeah. She has a trick up her sleeve. She has an ace up her sleeve. Like, you know when you're playing cards, like the ace sometimes is the highest card. Speaking of cards, let me just go off on a tangent here for a minute. So you know how you can have a deck of playing cards? I wish I had a deck of playing cards right here. Did you know that there are more different possible orders of a deck of playing cards than there are, than there are atoms on Earth? I know that sounds weird, but imagine how many grains of sand there are at the beach, right? Then imagine how many little bits, how many little atoms make up the Earth. right? The number of atoms on Earth is smaller than the number of possible card shuffles in a 52 deck of cards. Does that make sense to you? Right? I know that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. It's hard to believe, but apparently it's true. I think that's one of the most fascinating factoids that I've ever heard. Luke F says, you teach idioms only, or also essay? Sometimes I teach idioms, sometimes I teach slang. I teach whatever I feel like teaching. In Vietnam, we call it bài day. Okay. Do you go live daily? I go live probably like 4 times a week. Harvey, right now in Vietnam, it is 12:43 p.m. No, I love the comment section. I love talking smack. Oh, it's fun. I know that you guys think that I'm like angry, irritated person, but this is why I go live. You know, like if the comment section actually got on my nerves, I would just turn off comments. But I want you guys to comment. I love comments. The more pointless and incomprehensible, the better. Oh, Harvey's on the other side of the earth. Well, we are 12 hours apart. So I'm in the future, Harvey, right? Because you're in the past, right? You're 12 hours behind me. Ding Me says, where is the city of Vietnam you live now? I live in Nha Trang. Have you ever been to Nha Trang, Ding Me? Where do you live? Lum Lei, I'm training my ears with you as IELTS listening in 1.5x, by the way. Huh, okay. Van Beek says, where are you from? I'm from the United States. I'm from Texas. It's a cool name, Van Beek. Phuc means phoenix, right? So there's a tree called cây phuc, has very beautiful yellow or red flowers, but there's also the bird, right? Chim phuc, right? That catches on fire and it comes back to life. Let's see. Ding Me is in Da Nang. Cool. Holy Smoke says, are you based there? I'm super based here. Irish Sheen's I'm from Russia. Well, TikTok is banned in Russia, so where are you now, Irish Sheen's? Gulim says, Sam, you are a really pleasant person. Glad you feel that way, Gulim. P. Dot says, do you have any course for writing? You know, I used to teach writing online, and I used to think that writing was one of the best subjects to teach online, but then they invented something called ChatGPT, and I immediately had to stop teaching writing because all of my students were too lazy to write anything. So no, I don't have any courses for writing. Now, so Luke F asks again, do you teach idioms only? No, I don't only teach idioms, but I do not teach essays. Essays boring. Why would I teach that? Holy Smokes says, get the tattoo, Sam. Yep. One of these days, my friend. One of these days. Hui Dik says, Xin Chao. Xin Chao, Hui Dik. Ace Vu says, how do we all know this? I love the vague post. Completely incomprehensible. Zoom Nguyen says, hello, how are you doing? I'm doing so good. If I were any better, I would vomit. Van Beek, this is from Phu Quoc. Oh, that's a lovely place. Mary Eugenia, would you accept a visit from me? Well, what would you want to do if we visited, Mary? Kong says, can we go full beans instead of pull out all the stops? I've never heard anybody say that, Kong. But, you know, it's a free country. Say whatever you want. Oh, Arashins uses TikTok with a VPN. Wow. Cool. I go live on TikTok for about 1 hour, 4 or 5 times a week. Lug F says, wants me to teach writing. You know, I love writing. I've actually published a couple books. Tamir's from Ethiopia, lovely. What would you recommend me to be a good English teacher? Well, I can't answer that question in just one sentence, right? Being a good teacher is multifaceted. Checkmark says, is TikTok popular in America? A little bit. Let's see. Number 21. We need to pull out all the stops to meet the deadline, right? We need to do everything possible, right? We need to pull out all the stops, right? There's nothing that we will not do in order to meet the deadline. So let's pull out all the stops. Let's do everything we can. Van Beek says, are you English teacher? No, I am human. I'm Sam. I don't teach English because I hate teaching English. And I enjoy these live streams because I get to banter with people, but no, I'm not an English teacher. Lum Lay says, how to speak influently as a native speaker. You want to speak influently? Van Beek says, why? Why? Because I do. That's why. But you know what? I go live here on TikTok trying to help everybody on earth learn English well, right? I want you all to become as good an English speaker as you want to be so that nobody ever asks me to teach them English again. Van Beek says, oh, I thought you were teaching English. No, I'm just reading from a Google Doc and responding to the group chat. But I tell you what, if you're an English teacher, or if you're learning English, and you want a whole lot of stuff to help you learn, including apps, books, videos, lots of stuff, you can access all of it if you subscribe to me here on TikTok. It's $3 a month. Mark Luo says, you just gained a new follower. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. Pami says, I'm a Spanish teacher to foreign kids. My best students from Finland. Wow. So somebody from Finland is learning Spanish, huh? Luke F says, do you have a family, wife, and kids? I'm not here to answer personal questions. Ace Vu says, technically he's a streamer. That's right, I'm a streamer. Van Beek says, what are you doing on TikTok? I love it when people ask me that question. People come into the TikTok and they say, what are you doing? I'm painting an elephant purple. Okay, I'm building an airplane right now. That's what I'm doing, right? What does it look like I'm doing? Ding Me says, what do you do in Vietnam to make money? I rob banks. What do you do? Luke F says, how long have you been teaching? I taught for about 8 years and then I stopped because I didn't want to anymore. The team went the extra mile to satisfy the customer. Kong says, we should collab. What should we collab on, Kong? Tell me. I'm open to collaboration. The team went the extra mile, right? They tried super hard, right? They went beyond what they had to do. Harvey likes my sarcasm. Well, I'm glad. Not everybody does. Arashines is going to, what was that? Study abroad. Well, best of luck to you, Arashines. I hope it works well. What does drop the ball mean? Drop the ball means fail, right? The manager failed on client relationship. He did not succeed. Lock Bird, if you are a food, what food would it be? I would be cha muk, and I would eat myself because I love cha muk so much. I want to marry cha muk. 23, read along with me. Practice your English. The team went the extra mile. They tried super hard, right? They went above and beyond. Harvey says, it looks like you're angry, but you're not. I'm so angry, I'm about to explode. Van Beek says, you are on TikTok just taking for having fun. You mean talking? Yeah, sure. Luke F says, it's hot there in Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam's a hot country. Subtropical. Yeah. Oh, we have a baby chicken in the group chat, ladies and gentlemen. Gakon. Hello, Gakon. How's your day going? Are you eating grains? Mark Lewis says, you sound like you're from Texas. Didn't you say that earlier? Somebody else said that. It's funny that you would say that because I actually don't sound like I'm from Texas. I don't have a Texas accent, but I did live there for 12 years till I escaped. Ace Vu says, where are you now, Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi? Well, believe it or not, there are more than 2 cities in Vietnam, and I do not live in either Ho Chi Minh City nor Hanoi. I live in Nha Trang. 24, practice your English. Follow along with me. 24, he has a track record of successful turnarounds. So to have a track record, how can we understand this? Tell me, what does it mean to have a track record? How else could we say this? He has a reputation of successful turnarounds, right? He has a history of successful turnarounds, right? This is a good thing if you have a track record of successful turnarounds. Harvey says, Texas accent sounds like Australian accent, right? No, not right. Completely wrong. It's difficult to understand, right? Well, I'm from Texas, so it's not difficult for me to understand Texans. Okay. 25, practice your English with me, right? Listen and repeat. The deal is hanging in the balance right now, right? So we do not know what will happen, right? It's hanging in the balance, right? It's still in limbo. Baby Chicken Gakon says, what means turnarounds? Turnaround means to turn around, right? Let's say that there was a difficult situation where things were going wrong, but he turned it around, right? He made it go from bad to good. That was a turnaround. Harvey says, but I mean for us as foreign learners. Well, if you listen to Texans and then listen to Australians, you'll see that the accent is quite different. Clarito says, understand Tennessee accent. Okay, yeah, Tennessee people also speak with a thick accent. Love music sent a rose. Thanks so much. Inwa sent a rose and a secret heart. Thanks so much. So if the deal is hanging in the balance, it means the deal is not finished, right? We do not know if the deal is going to be a success or not. I'm getting a headache. All right, 26, moving on. She stole the show with her presentation, right? Her presentation was so much better than all of the other presentations that people paid more attention to her, right? She stole the show with her presentation because it was such a good presentation. Van Beek Phung says, you look very handsome, sir. Thanks so much, Van Beek Phung. Mark Luo says, she ate with her presentation. Sure, Mark Luo. Clarito says, was really amzibv. Was really amazing. Wow, almost. Third tries a charm. Try one more time. Ace Vu says, you speak Vietnamese better than me at some point. I'm sure that's not true. B says, are you AI teacher? Yes, I am AI Charlie Puth. Didn't you know that? You must be new here. Welcome to my live stream. I was coded with Claude, right? Mo Due says, wow, you speak the accent of Vietnamese well. Cool, thanks. I think it's funny that like names that have Zonang, well, I have a friend named Hui, right? And I actually think that's a beautiful name, Hui. But some people, like they'll say that if you vomit, you call your friend named Hui, because just saying the word Hui kind of sounds like puking, you know? Tôi đã uống quá nhiều bia, sau đó đã phải gọi Hui. Van Beek Phượng says, how long have you been in Vietnam? I've been in Vietnam 8 years. Yeah. So we broke the bank. We spent too much money, right? It was too expensive. We spent a fortune. We broke the bank, right? We spent way too much money on the new office renovation. Yeah. If they broke the bank, you should rob the bank like Sam did. Yeah. Kong, where are you from, Kong? In Mexico, way. Oh. I love the Mexican word way, you know? Órale, way. ¿Cómo estás, way? I'm not into the business, but I like this. Fanteam Team 07 likes it. You like it. I'm glad. Hey, dude. So, 28. The company has deep pockets. for R&D investment. So R&D is research and development. Right? To have deep pockets means you have a lot of money. I do not have deep pockets. Clarito says, like, dude, que onda, wey? Yeah, que onda, wey? What's going on, man? ¿Qué pasó? Kong, oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Kong is from his mom. Gosh, I hope that someday I will have humor skills like that. Harvey asks, what's the difference between throw up and to vomit? Well, there's no difference. It means the same exact thing. Vomit is more like scientific. I'm just messing with you, Kong. Deep pockets means you have a lot of money, ding me. The company has deep pockets, right? They have a lot of money for research and development. Right? They have a big budget for research and development investment. Mark Luo finds these idioms very useful. Sweet. I'm so glad, Mark Luo. I came on this live stream just for you, right? Before I started this live stream, I'm like, man, I'm going to write a bunch of idioms so that Mark Luo can get some value from this live stream. He played his cards right. He did all the right things. Yes, just Nora. He played his cards right and got the promotion, right? He did all the right things at work. So his boss said, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay you $1 more a year. Tata Panda says, I love you from Germany? Germany? Where is that place? Anyway, to play your cards right, to do the right thing, to be smart about what you do and get the promotion. Very useful for daily conversation. I'm glad you feel that way, Mark Luo. Michael says, $1 a year. Yep, you did so good, I'm going to pay you $1 more a year, right? Not just your average salary, right? You're getting one whole extra dollar a year. Number 30, practice your English. The market is in a state of flux, right? It's changing. It's in a state of flux at the moment. Ace Vu says, what is your occupation? What is my occupation? I'm an elephant doctor. That's what I do for a living. Andina says, buenos dias. Buenos dias, beautiful Andina. Thanks for the rose. Michael says, $1 a year is too much. Yeah, well, I'm just generous, I like helping people. I got deep pockets, so here's an extra dollar. So the other day, I was walking here in Vietnam, and I found a coin from 2003. And this coin is worth, what was it? 200 Vietnam dong. So is there anybody here who's from Vietnam who can tell me, in the year 2003, 23 years ago, what could you buy with 200 Vietnam dong? Because today, 200 Vietnam dong would not be enough to buy a grain of rice. I'm just curious, 23 years ago, what could you buy with Hai Cham Vietnam dong? Vivi says 30, instability. Yes, the market is unstable at the moment. It's in a state of flux, right? Things are going up, then they go down. Mister says, I love you. Cool. If you love me so much, then why don't you send me a chocolate cake? Kawami says, a land. That's a pretty nice vague post. I like that one, Kawami. Gekman says, hello from Ukraine. Oh, привет. Country with closed borders. Yeah, I'm sorry about what's happening in Ukraine. I hope you're staying safe. Konmao says, hello, teacher. Hi, cat. Like, what can you buy with 10,000 now? Well, in Nha Trang, you can buy a cup of coffee for 10,000. Right? I had a cup of coffee this morning, and I spent 10,000 Vietnam dong on that delicious cup of black coffee. Amila Amiyang says, hi, Amiyang. Where are you from? Con Miao Ngo says, hello, teacher. Hi, Con Miao Ngo. What's up? How's your day going? Phương Tao says 200 Vietnam Dong can buy a snack like bubblegum or coconut jelly. Cool. Amiyang is from Myanmar. Cool. Harvey says Vietnamese women are beautiful. Some of them. Get a job that builds your skills. I have no skills. I'm not good at anything. Stepan Dorozhovich says, hello, Pravit from Ukraine again. Got a couple Ukrainians here today. Nope. Dan says, would you watch World Cup final match tomorrow? I do not care about the World Cup. I have not watched any of it. Genghis Tuan says, that's why you end up with this crappy job. Genghis Tuan, what are you talking about? What job do you think I have? Tom says, are you a lawyer? Yes, I'm actually not a lawyer. Con Miao Ngo wants to learn English. Well, cool. Learn English with me. Tom, that's a good vague post. I like that one. What do I do if I get finger on a train? If you get finger on a train, you should lick a ketchup popsicle. Genghis Tuan says, teaching business idioms. Well, you're here watching the live stream, Genghis Tuan. Does everybody else think that this is a useless thing? So number 31, we hit a snag with the supply chain issues. So everybody, tell me, what are you doing that's interesting this weekend? Right? Today's Saturday. What exciting thing will you do this weekend? Just Nora has a problem with the supply chain. Genghis Tuan says, the second I walked in here, I smelled defeat. Well, you're probably smelling your upper lip, my friend. "32, the new product took off." Oh, somebody's asking, hit a snag, right? We hit a snag, we got stuck, right? We got to a point where we could not move forward. Beitruzi says, why are there so many haters here? Well, haters just don't have anything else to do, right? They sit at home in their mom's basement and wish they had a girlfriend, and they don't know what else to do, so they come in my live stream and try to make me feel sad. But it doesn't work. We hit a snag. We had a problem with the supply chain issues. Number 33, she has a sharp eye for marketing issues, right? She's good at identifying opportunities, right? She sees an opportunity for what it is. Where are we? She has a sharp eye, right? She's good at identifying new opportunities. Just Nora loves learning English idioms. Well, I'm glad. Now, Dan says, how can I save all these idioms? Well, you can message me. I'll send you the document if you want. Genghis Tuan, I knew all these idioms, so don't bother teaching them. Genghis Tuan, you're a genius. Genghis Tuan, maybe you should teach these idioms. Number 34, the team pulled it off despite tight deadlines. Beitruzi, I have no idea how to say your name, but goodbye to you. Have a wonderful weekend. Fung Chi says hi. Hello, Fung Chi. Welcome. Nya Ka says, your voice is really beautiful. Thanks, Nya Ka. Ondina says, what's idiom? Well, there's a genius here. His name is, what is his name? Genghis Tuan. He's the most important person on the internet, so I'm sure he would love to tell you what an idiom is. Vivi says, hi, kwato izatik tuvi ilam. I'm so glad. The team pulled it off, right? They succeeded. They managed to do it. They pulled it off. 35, we're in the black. Right, we have this one again. We saw this earlier. Oh no, the one we saw earlier was in the red, right? In the red means losing money. In the black means making money. Yes, Kong. We're in the black. We are profitable. Genghis Duen says, no one uses these idioms in real world business, by the way, so it's useless. Thank you so much, Genghis Duen, the genius of the internet today. Love your comments. You must have super high IQ, right, Genghis Duen? Fatim Team says, can you send me the idioms? Yeah, send me a private message and I'll send you the Google Doc. So 36, practice your English. He threw caution to the wind and started his own company, right? He was not worried about the danger or the risk. Genghis Duen says, so I'm a physics researcher, so of course I'm smarter than you. Congratulations. Everybody give Genghis Duen a medal, right? This guy deserves a framed photograph of himself. Kanmeongo says, can you read slow motion? You want me to read slower? Koami sent a you're awesome. Thanks. Fung Tao says, please ignore haters, teacher. Oh, I love the haters. I wish there were more haters. Hey, Genghis Duen, don't you have any friends? I guess you probably don't, but if you did have friends, you should invite them here so that they can give useless remarks as well. Buen Mochut says, hello, today you're handsome. Well, I'm glad you're not buenio. 37, the negotiations hit a brick wall. The negotiations failed. They stopped immediately. Harvey says, don't give them attention. Why not? I love interacting with the haters, especially the low IQ ones. Oh, thanks, Andina. Kawami says, I want to take my English to the next level. Help me, please. Okay. I'll try to help you, Kawami, if I can. Bem Ha He says, can you please translate it to Vietnamese? My Vietnamese is not that good. But anyway, the negotiations hit a brick wall. It means they stopped, right? They stopped suddenly. They did not succeed. Moving on, number 38. She has the Midas touch when it comes to marketing, right? So there's a story, like a fable, of King Midas. He had a curse to where everything he touched turned to gold, right? So if you say she has the Midas touch, it means that she brings good luck. Miss J says hi from Indonesia. Hi. Genghis Duen says, the one hating and envying is the guy who taught you guys useless idioms right now. Cool, Genghis Duen. Super helpful. $39. We need to cut to the chase in this meeting, right? We need to get to the point, right? We need to get to the main topic. So let's cut to the chase. Let's not waste any more time with small talk. Let's cut to the chase. All right, we've got 282 people here. Wow, whoop-de-doo. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here on my live stream. Welcome. My name's Sam. I'm from the United States. These live streams are to try to help you improve your English communication skills. So follow along with me with number 40. The company is weathering the storm quite well. So to weather a storm means to deal with difficult situations. Now Dan says, wait, I don't get the 37. So to hit a brick wall means to stop, right? The negotiations stopped. Dwayne wants to be the number one on this chat. Well, he's the number one on something. I'm not going to say what. Concierge Japan sent a rose. Thanks, Concierge Japan. So to weather the storm, to deal with difficult things, right? Like a fishing boat on the sea would have to weather a storm, right? They would have to deal with wind and rain difficulty. Steve Rogers says, your AI not real. Yeah, that's right, right? I'm the product of Claude Code. Steve Rogers, you must be new here. Welcome, regardless. So yes, I'm not real, I'm AI, right? Somebody typed the prompt, make me an ugly, stupid AI avatar to do TikTok live streams teaching English communication skills. Steve Rogers. So are these people bots? Steve Rogers, are you a bot? There used to be the bots where it was these weird women who would like flirt with me, but now there's like bots who just say completely useless things. Mopdue says, teacher, in the real life companies from Foreigner, they use idioms in conversation. Yeah, these are normal idioms, right? I use these idioms. Thanks, Concierge Japan, for the rose. 41, he has a vested interest in the project's success, right? So he really wants for the project to succeed. He does not want it to fail. He has a vested interest. He has committed himself to making the project succeed. Steve Rogers says, nah, bro, you speak like a artificial intelligence and programmed. Steve Rogers, did you not hear what I just said? I am artificial programmed intelligence. N says, where have you been? I've been at home. Genghis Duen. What is the deal? Number 42. The new strategy paid dividends immediately. Right? The new strategy was profitable. Right? It made money. Oh, we've got an adult toy shop here. Hello, Pink Roses. Wow. Do you sell adult toys? You should meet Genghis Duen and sell him some adult toys. Let's see. Mr. Gupka Bob says, Privyet, Privyet. Genghis Duen says, no English native businessman would ever touch any of these stupid idioms. Yeah, that's right. I'm teaching idioms that are completely useless. These have never been said by anybody in all time. Pame, you have a good day. Have a lovely weekend. So have a vested interest, yes, does mean have investment in the project. Let's see, Mr. Bubka Khoroshego Dnya. Sorry, I don't speak Russian. Oh, Teacher Gunul is here. Hi, Teacher Gunul. Glitcherine says, loves my live stream. Thanks. So to pay dividends means to become profitable, right? To make money. Number 43, we burned the midnight oil to finish the proposal. Right, we worked very late. We burned the midnight oil. Just Norris says, but you can read Russian. I know how to pronounce the Cyrillic alphabet, but I don't know any Russian. All right, moving on. Almost finished for today. It's only 6 more to go. The CEO laid down the law. We already did this one. This is a repeat. So the chief executive officer made a decision, right? He laid down the law. He was the boss about company expenses. 45, right? This is like the one we just saw a minute ago, right? To have a golden touch would be to have the Midas touch, right? The golden touch, right? She has a golden touch in client relations. She brings good luck. Genghis Duan says people here are just pitting your incompetency. Okay. Hui Chang Ta Ho says nope. Su NT Hui Nope Chuk Come here. Gyro Torres says, Sam, do you ever teach the same information? I just joined and wanted to see the idioms. Yeah, I often teach idioms. If you want the document, Gyro, just send me a private message. Tôi muốn ăn cơm says thầy có phải thầy giáo IELTS không ạ? Thầy từng dạy IELTS nhưng mà hiện tại thì không. Genghis Duan, my life is awesome, actually. 46, the market is booming right now for our sector. Right? The market is doing very well. It's doing super well, actually. All right, almost finished for this today, Saturday live stream. 47, we turned the corner after the difficult year. Right, we finally overcame our obstacles, right? We got past the problems, we turned the corner after the difficult year, right? The business was struggling for a long time, for an entire year, but then we turned the corner, right? We did the right thing, we finally succeeded in the end. "48. Practice your English with me. Right, these are business idioms. He has his work cut out for him with this new role. Harvey says, we have like THD. We can't focus on the idioms, sorry. What's THD? So he has his work cut out for him, right? He has lots of things to do, right? He's going to be very busy because he has his work cut out for him. He has lots of work to do with his new role, right? So maybe he got a promotion at work, right? Maybe he went from being just a normal worker to a manager, and now he has more work to do. So his work is cut out for him. 49, the team rose to the occasion. This means that they were presented with a difficult task, right? They were given something very hard to do, but they rose to the occasion, right? They worked very hard and they tried their best. Harvey says, ADHD, attention deficit disorder. Yeah. Last one. Almost finished here today. We need to keep our eyes on the prize as we move forward, right? We need to remember our goal. Right? Keep your eye on the prize. Don't forget what you're working for. Don't forget what the goal is. Well, that's it. No more idioms for today. How long have I been live? Wow, has it really been 2 hours? Huh. Well, anyway, goodbye, everybody. Stay safe. Have a beautiful weekend. And maybe I'll see you in the next live stream. Send me a private message if you want to say hi. Otherwise, goodbye, everybody. I'm going to go eat lunch. Have a lovely day. If I could just figure out how to turn off the live.